The 2000s truly were a great decade for musicals. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're looking at the greatest musicals of the 2000s.
Trim your sail, you won't fail. Find your grail, find your grail.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most critically acclaimed and commercially successful musicals that premiered on Broadway between 2000 and 2009. The musical must be an original, so revivals will not be included. Number 10. Legally Blonde. 6 years after the Reese Witherspoon movie, we were given a musical adaptation of the novel and film.
It's a gift from me to
And while it wasn't as commercially profitable as its movie counterpart, it still saw its fair share of success. Following a brief winter run at San Francisco's Golden Gate Theater, Legally Blonde opened on Broadway on April 29, 2007, and ran for just 595 performances, a decent but not profitable run.
feel how hot it's getting bad. And when you got the sweat, spring the trap, takes you and left.
However, the musical received its fair share of good reviews, and many critics singled out Laura Bell Bundy's portrayal of Elle for special praise. She was subsequently nominated for a Best Actress Tony Award, one of the show's 7 nominations.
What you want, what you want, what you want, what you want!
Number 9. In the Heights.
And today's all we got, so we cannot stop. This is our block in the Heights. I hang my flag upon display. I came from miles away.
Who'd have thought that Usnavi from In the Heights would become the biggest name in musical theater? While Lin-Manuel Miranda originally performed an early version of In the Heights in University, it didn't receive a professional production until 2005, when it played at the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center in Connecticut. It premiered on Broadway 3 years later, and the rest is history.
Just me and the GWB, asking G, Nina, what'll you be?
The Broadway production was lauded for its acting, production design, choreography, and unique blend of musical styles. And it took home 4 Tony Awards, including the coveted Best Musical. It made Lin-Manuel Miranda a star, introducing us to one of the most charismatic and talented Broadway performers in decades. Number 8. Jersey Boys. Like many of the best musicals, Jersey Boys tells a very specific story, but manages to find the universal in its themes and production. The story follows the formation and eventual breakup of the Four Seasons, a pop group from the 60s. It may sound like this musical was tailor-made for older, nostalgic theatergoers, but that could not be further from the truth. It managed to find a wide audience thanks to its intriguing story, brilliant acting, and catchy music, contributing to a Broadway run of more than 4,600 performances. It gave older audiences a burst of nostalgia, and it introduced the younger generation to one of the most iconic pop groups of all time. Now that's a win-win.
Sherry, Sherry baby, Sherry baby, baby.
Number 7. Avenue Q. Avenue Q is what would happen if you took Sesame Street, The Muppets, and Friends, threw them in a blender, added a heap of explicit adult content, and made the result into a theatrical musical.
It sucks to be me. It sucks to be me.
Is there anybody here it doesn't suck to be? It sucks to be me.
Yeah, that's a great elevator pitch. This human puppet hybrid obviously takes huge inspiration from the aforementioned shows. even going so far as to hire ex-Sesame Street performers as the puppeteers. However, unlike those shows, Avenue Q presents adult themes while also employing profanity and scenes of puppet sex. Yes, puppet sex.
Internet is for, internet is for, internet is for.
Who says Broadway plays it too safe? Despite its experimental nature and restricting adult content, the play was an enormous commercial success, and is now fondly remembered as one of the most unique and creative endeavors on Broadway.
Everyone's a little bit racist sometimes. Doesn't mean we go around committing hate crimes.
Number 6. Spring Awakening. Like in The Heights, we can thank Spring Awakening for introducing us to two big names in Broadway and musical entertainment, Lea Michele and Jonathan Groff. They respectively star as Wendla and Melchior, two sexually active teenagers in late 19th century Germany.
Mama who bore me, Mama who gave me, Mama the angels who made me so sad.
The musical is an adaptation of a 19th century German play of the same name, which was extremely controversial in its time for its open criticism of sexual oppression.
It's the bitch of living. Bitch, just the bitch. What you can, just the bitch, yeah.
While the content matter obviously wasn't as taboo or attention-grabbing in 2006, the play still managed to generate a ton of interest, and it went on to win an astounding 8 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. Take that, prudes.
I'll tell you how, and I'll go beside and touch me. Just to ride it. Now there, that's all.
Number 5. Next to Normal. Most people go to Broadway to have a good time and escape their troubles. Those people were not the target audience of Next to Normal. It wanted to say something. And say something it did.
I miss the mountains. I miss the highs and lows.
The musical expertly tells the story of a mentally ill mother as she and her family grapple with her worsening bipolar disorder. As you would expect, the musical touches on complex and mature themes, and it presents an unfortunately harsh and relatable outlook on the realities of modern suburban life.
Isn't that when kids move out? Isn't it time to let him go?
No, I'm alive, I am so alive. If you climb on my back, then we both can fly.
Not only did this play take incredible thematic risks, but Alice Ripley's performance as Diana was universally lauded. According to the Pulitzer Board, which awarded it the Pulitzer for Drama, the musical, quote, expanded the scope of subject matter for musicals. And we could not agree more.
You don't know, it lays me so low when you say let go, and I say you don't know.
Number 4. Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia, does it show again? My, just how much I missed ya. Yes, I've been broken-hearted.
The idea for Mamma Mia came when producer Judy Kramer heard ABBA's The Winner Takes It All and thought that it would make a good show tune. She then approached ABBA's Bjorn Ulvaeus and Benny Andersson with the idea, who initially were reluctant, but eventually accepted. Mamma Mia premiered on the West End in 1999 before making its way to Broadway in 2001. It eventually became the 9th longest running show in Broadway history, thanks primarily to the infectious ABBA music.
See that girl, watch that scene in Dancing Queen.
Unfortunately, Mamma Mia was released in a highly competitive year that included Urinetown and Thoroughly Modern Millie, resulting in 0 Tony wins. That said, it's arguably the most popular musical to have never won a Tony, proving that awards aren't everything.
Mamma Mia, does it show again?
My, just how much I missed ya.
Number 3. The Producers.
Be a producer, show the world just what I got. I'm gonna put on shows that will enthrall them.
Back in 1967, Mel Brooks released a movie called The Producers to a mixed reception. Although Brooks picked up an Oscar for his screenplay. 34 years later, he adapted his movie for the stage. and it became one of the most successful musicals of all time.
There was a time when I was young and gay, but straight. There was a time when I was bold.
The musical, starring Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, was an immediate success and went on to break numerous Broadway records. The first record was the largest single-day box office sales, which it accomplished after grossing $3 million in one day. It would later break its own record when it took in $3.5 million in 2003. It also won a record 12 Tony Awards, blowing away the competition that year. So yeah, we'd call that a success.
We can't miss.
Number 2. Hairspray.
Yes, now you capture me.
Everyone knows Hairspray thanks to the 2007 movie starring John Travolta, Christopher Walken, and Zac Efron. But before that, it was an enormously successful and critically acclaimed musical from the minds of Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman.
Saw Hairspray last week.
I cannot picture you watching Hairspray.
It's okay, I like the producers better.
Well, aren't you just a Broadway baby?
And before that, it was a John Waters movie, starring Divine, Sonny Bono, and Ricky Lake. The play was lauded for its 60s-themed production, uplifting and feel-good story, and infectious score that fused elements of bubblegum pop, dance, and R&B. It walked away with 8 Tony Awards, and the subsequent West End production was nominated for a record 11 Olivier Awards. The makers of this musical can certainly hear the bells. In this case, the bells are awards and lots of money. If ever you're having a bummer day, the Hairspray soundtrack will always fix it. A couple of these honorable mentions are also totally on my Pump Up playlist, and I totally ruined my voice trying to sing a couple. But number 1 has left me with hurt vocal cords, but also so happy I could melt.
At the 25th annual, we memorized the manual about how to spell these words, words that require thought. Why you so scared? I'll never know. But if a man raised his hand, he'll know.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Wicked. Wicked has become just as important to Broadway as The Wizard of Oz was to film. Okay, maybe it's not as influential or groundbreaking, but it's certainly just as popular.
Popular. You're gonna be popular. I'll teach you the proper ploys when you talk to boys. Little ways to flirt and flounce.
Wicked officially premiered on Broadway on October 30th, 2003, and received lukewarm reviews, with most of the criticism directed at Idina Menzel's performance, the overblown production, and generic Broadway score. Audiences disagreed vehemently, and word of mouth quickly spread, making it a phenomenal hit. It's now the second highest grossing Broadway musical of all time, having grossed over $1.12 billion as of 2019. Whether it's the lavish production, the rousing music, the story, or its relation to the classic film, audiences have connected with Wicked, and it has since become synonymous with Broadway.
Tell them how I am defying gravity. I'm flying high, defying gravity.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.